Okay, so we're going to set up our ISNs. The first thing we're going to do, you probably did this in science. You numbered your pages. Did you number? Okay. I'm not sure how Miss Weimer does it. I number, up in just the corner. And I'm not going to number my entire book, but I am going to get to about, I don't know, if you get to about 40 or 50. So go ahead and number the top corners there. Okay, now what I need you to do, go to the back of your book and count back 4 pages. So 1, 2, 3, 4 from the back of your book. This is going to be our index. So anytime we have to take notes, whatever the topic is, we'll come back and reference it back here in the index so you can go back and find those notes very, very easily. Okay? So this is what you're going to do. Now I kind of made a little demo here. We're only going to put 3 letters per page. Okay? And you're going to go just roughly a third. You don't have to divide it by 3 and get it exactly so and so many lines. Just roughly every 3 letters go on a page. So A, B, C, and then D, E, F. And you're going to keep going. And I know some of you have already done the math. Mrs. McCabe, there's 26 letters. It's not divisible by 3. So on the very last page, you're going to have V, W, and then X, Y, Z. There's not a lot of math topics starting with X, Y, Z. Okay? So on this first page, we're going to go A, roughly go about a third down, B, and another third, C. And then I'm just going to turn, go to my next page, A, B, C, D, E, F. And you're just going by every 3 letters. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the ISN anytime we're working with Test Trainer. And you need to do any kind of little work. Like the other day, some people were grabbing calculators. Some people were trying to get scratch paper. Now you're going to have one specific point where you're going to be able to do this. So label this page headers. This is what our headers are going to look like. Now, right now I can think of 3 different ways. So I'm going to make 3 different pages here. These are pages in my, that is not the best looking, but there you go. Those are my pages that are in my ISN. Yeah, go ahead and draw those in there. So the very first thing, and it'll probably happen tomorrow, is you're going to log into Test Trainer. And you may end up with some questions that you need to show some work on, that you need to work out. I don't know. But math is definitely not one of those things that we just do all up here in our head. Okay? Math is meant for pencil and paper. And when you get into that habit of you open up Test Trainer and you have your notebook ready to go, you've got paper there to help you figure out what's going on. We're going to abbreviate Test Trainer to TT. So let's say tomorrow you come into class and you're getting ready to do Test Trainer. So you label your page TT. This is going to be for my Test Trainer. And what will tomorrow be? Do you remember? Was it like function? Number sense maybe? I don't remember. What was the third one down? Geometry? Okay, so whatever it is, then you would just put the letter of what it is you're working with. So right now I'm in test trainer, and on this date, so tomorrow would be 9/9, I was working on geometry. Okay? So let's go real quick here. NS would be for number sense.
8th graders, H through M to the cafeteria. Thank you.
EE is expressions and equations. F is functions. G is geometry. Oh gosh. Oh, S/P is stats and probability. So that's just a way to kind of organize. I mean, you might not ever refer back to this, or you might. You might be, when you get back to geometry, you might be like, oh, I had a problem like that. And you could go back and reference it. And it would be right here where you would see, oh yeah, this was my last time I was in geometry. Let's say that you don't use the whole page. Whatever day it was on test trainer, you didn't have to show a lot of work. You didn't really have to do a lot. And you only used a little bit. Well, then the next day you can just go over here. Just drop down, test trainer. Maybe it was number sense for the next day. So you can just kind of keep a running tally. For test trainer, you're not going to have to put that in the index. There's really no reason. Okay? All it is your work. You can refer back to it if you need to when you come across another question. But we don't need to put it in the index. Okay? Okay. The other thing you could be using this for is the simulation trainer. So we'll call that ST. Now, here in a bit, I'm going to get you a workbook that goes with all of our math stuff, and it is, I almost just used that instead of an ISN, but they just don't have a lot of space to work in. So there is a simulation trainer section in the workbook. We'll look at that here in a second, okay? But if you start working through it and you're like, oh my God, I just used up my whole half a page in there, you could jump back to the ISN so you're still recording your work and putting it here. So we would just call that simulation trainer ST. And then probably the best way so that we know what in the world we're talking about, maybe you're in a number sense lesson and it's point 1. All of these little codes are in your workbook. So if you got started in your workbook and you're like, I just ran out of room, what do I do? Instead of putting pages in there and then they start getting fluffy, you can just go to the ISN, label it simulation trainer. You know it won't be a test trainer, and this will be your work for that, okay? And then finally, we will use this for lessons. There is a place in there for lessons, but they gave us half a page. Half a page. And I'm like, there's some times where we use 2 pages in an ISN to make sure we know what we're doing. So what's going to happen with the lesson is we're always going to put the topic at the top. I like putting dates just because you can always kind of think back and like, oh, okay, that was in September, okay? But here's the really cool thing about the lessons. We're going to put those in the table of contents. So if you're like, okay, remember when we learned about fractions and decimals? When was that? You can go back and look at fractions and decimals, and it'll tell you the exact page to go to. So for the lessons, we're going to put the topic and page number in the table of contents. So this is basically going to be used for 3 things. It's going to be used just to show your work on the test trainer. If you need more room for the simulation trainer, and some of you may not even want to use the workbook for that. You may just be like, this is my ISN, this is where I'm going to show my work. And then I think we're going to try to put all our lessons in here just because it's going to be a whole lot easier. Okay.